we're cooking again. We're gathering ingredients and doing some prep. We got ginger and garlic and some sweet white onions to start with for this lettuce wrap creation. I've got my wok out and we're gonna throw in some oil and let it heat up a bit. I'm gonna finish some chopping of different things, make sure I've got everything ready to go. I like to gather all my ingredients and everything I need beforehand so I can just kind of chuck everything in the same dish and not be running around the kitchen for stuff that I forgot. So I'm using Impossible burger meat that comes in bulk, and I just threw it in there and it's gonna brown up, get it almost all the way brown in the oil, and the wok's really hot, so it's easy to get it done pretty fast. This entire recipe in real time took me, I don't know, with prep time and stuff, about a half an hour. Maybe a tiny bit longer because I was putzing around with the camera. Trying to get things straight. So now you can see the meat's pretty brown. There's still a little bit in the center that might need a little bit more coaxing, but it's good. We're going to start adding some of our ingredients, and the ginger goes in and the garlic goes in. We're going to throw the onions in too. And I added carrots to this recipe. I'll post the actual where you can find this recipe if I can find it online. If not, it's available in a cookbook. But I added carrots to the recipe just because I can, and I had them, and they work out really well in a lettuce wrap. So I'm just going to stir it all around. It gets sauteed. And you're just looking to kind of soften everything with the meat and let the meat finish up. So we're stirring and we're stirring. Now I had some chicken bouillon. I made about a cup and a half. Pouring it over the side, you're going to kind of deglaze the pan and just let it boil, really, until the liquid disappears. It's only really to flavor the meat, and I added pepper but no salt because the bouillon has a lot of sodium in it, so you have to kind of play with that and see to your taste buds how much you like. But there, see, I put some pepper in. Again, I don't use the salt because the bouillon is super salty if you use too much. It goes in the rest of that, and we're just going to let it cook down. This is probably the longest, other than, I mean, the prep takes some time, but the longest part of this is just to get everything to reduce. So I'm going to do a little multitask. I'm going to add some walnuts, just medium chop at the very end, just to give it a little extra texture. And the walnuts have a really nice meaty flavor to them once you chuck them in, but you do it at the very, very end so they don't get soggy or soak up any liquid. That's the way you keep that textury quality to the walnuts. And again, we're just stirring and stirring, and this is the longest part of all of this, is that you just have to kind of let it be until the water evaporates and you get a nice flavorful faux meat background. I should add that you can do this with tofu. You don't have to do this with a faux meat product. We just like the Impossible burger stuff, so that's why we use it, but you don't have to. You could substitute tofu. So you're approaching kind of the midway point, or eclipsing to the end here, and you're going to want to taste what you're doing. Just sort of adjust the garlic, the ginger. You might want to add more pepper. It's always a good idea to taste. You'll see I'm adding a little bit of the sauce, and the sauce mixture comes from the first ingredient photo that I showed. It's soy sauce and rice vinegar, hot sauce, a little sesame oil. And you add about half, and then we're going to keep half for dipping towards the end. I cut up some red onions because we like to have a little crunchy condiment on top. I'm just going to set those aside so when we plate and get that all rounded up. Still cooking to get the right consistency. You don't want it wet, You don't want it dry. You want just kind of a saucy mixture. You can see I've got the walnuts. Those will be the last thing to go in before we plate. And the next photo shows you that's kind of what you're looking for. It's kind of a nice mixture. And normally you would eat this on butter lettuce, but I just had some red romaine and some other varieties of lettuce from the farmer's market. So we're just going to use them to scoop. Use whatever you have. Make it easy on yourself. Just clean a few leaves. I put some ramekins out for the side sauce. The onions will just sprinkle on top, and I also put another bowl out because we're going to scoop the meat out into the bowl. This is a messy meal. Make sure you have napkins. You will be wearing the sauce because it will run down your arm, juicing out the backside of the lettuce, no matter what kind of lettuce that you use. But it's delicious. You really should give it a try, and it's easy. Real time took about 30 minutes.
Awesome!
Just a little cooking disclaimer. I'm a home cook. I spent a lot of time in the restaurant industry, but I'm a home cook. I'm not a chef. Everything you see, I use. Everything that's out gets used. Nothing is around for decoration. So there's marks on the stove, crumbs on the counter, things laying around. It's all used. It's all real life. I don't put it together for show. I do very little to start or stop showing you how I cook. So just keep that in mind. It's real life.